Hey guys, it's Winterwolf and welcome back to my channel. So last video you saw me make the to-door apartments that you can kind of see on the right hand side. Those were going to be for a family that either I'm going to do for a let's play or it's just for my own like personal gameplay. So I wanted to make a family for one of the apartments in that family. Wait, what am I saying? I wanted to make a family that's going to be neighbors to that apartment building because I'm thinking that these guys will be friends with one of the families in there and also potentially a love interest from one of the families in there. So that's why I'm working on the Havisham house. And the idea for this build is that we're going to renovate the Havisham house to be more modern or to have like a modern extension. So it's not like we're building some super modern house, but we're going to be fixing up the old one, maybe putting on some new wood, some new wallpaper, and then we're going to be adding a modern extension to it to kind of build it up a little bit. So that's the plan for this video. I also want to give you guys a little bit of a warning. I was struggling so much with the furnishing on this build. So unfortunately, I didn't record all of the furnishing. I'm really sorry if you guys wanted to see the furnishing of the whole build. It's just like, it was a lot of me going back and forth on beds, and it uses up so much space to like record all of that. I just wasn't sure if I was gonna be able to figure it out while I was recording. I think I get recording like shy or recordings block or something because sometimes I just like can't think while I'm recording because I think I worry about how long I'm taking and like how much, space I'm taking on my computer by sitting here going and cycling through beds forever. So I'm really sorry if you guys want to see all the furnishing. I will go through on a tour in the end so you guys don't miss that much. But let's get on with the speed build. Kind of be following the reference picture on the right, but not really because obviously we are sticking with the older building that was originally on this lot. So the first thing we're going to do is kind of gut everything down, getting rid of all of the old furnishing, the old like floor plan. I did go ahead and bring that one wall in just because I really don't like having overhangs like that and it wasn't going to fit for having an extension. So I guess the reality of the renovation is it's a little bit wishy-washy because I don't think you would ever just like bring in a wall like that, but it's fine. So imagining here that we're changing our wood tones and everything, we're kind of updating the wallpaper and stuff. I also never use this wallpaper, so I thought it'd be a fun way to kind of still incorporate the to door aspect while using maybe a more modern colored wood. I feel like the other one looks a little bit older. This one makes it look a little bit newer. So that's why I chose this wood tone to start out with. And then we're going to use the entire right side of this build to kind of build out an extension. I don't know if the extension really looks that like modern or new, but the idea I was going for is that we still use that like concrete kind of stone background because you can see in the door that they have like a concrete stone, maybe it's stucco background. And so I wanted to use just like a regular stucco because stucco I think still looks kind of modern. So I've kind of imagined that they wanted to add an extension to the house that wasn't going to be like ultra modern but kind of blended in the house better. So I decided to use stucco for the exterior on the second half of the walls, but I did end up using a little bit of Tudor. I don't really know what that style, like that wallpaper is called, but that like Tudor style with the wooden slats. I did end up adding that a little bit on the right hand side. I was also playing around a little bit with having a second floor, but it just wasn't gonna fit well. So that made that a little bit difficult. I was kind of worried we weren't gonna have enough space here, but I was really surprised about how everything almost fit kind of perfectly, to be honest. Like this build ends up looking pretty spacious and really nice. So I did add, like I said, some of those like slatted wallpapers. um, I think it maybe makes it look a little bit less like a modern extension though, so I can't remember if I keep that wallpaper there or not. But yeah, so then I went ahead and I like put up um lights and everything so you guys can see what's going on. And I'm kind of just talking about the floor plan right now. I did stream this on Twitch, so you'll see me do a lot of like pointer waving, but that's just me talking to chat about what I'm thinking. So I was really struggling with the floor plan. Well, actually, I don't think so. I think the floor plan came together pretty easily, actually. I think that I was kind of struggling with where I wanted the kitchen to be and where I wanted the living room to be. Because my idea was that if you're doing like a older building with a modern extension, that if I put the kitchen on the like older house, then it's gonna have to look older, you know? And typically if you're doing a renovation, you would want to have a more modern kitchen. So I was like, should I put the living room on the right-hand side so that the kitchen could be like part of the add-on or something? But then I was like, no, I feel like with the way the floor plan looks, it kind of fits better that you walk into like the kitchen and dining room space than to walk into a living room and then a kitchen and then have bedrooms attached to the kitchen. Like that just didn't make any sense. And also, if you're building off of an old house, you probably wouldn't move where the kitchen is. You would probably have the kitchen, you know, where it was in the older house. And unfortunately, if you're only doing like a modern extension, you're not modernizing the entire house, then maybe you would be stuck with an older kitchen. So that's kind of what I decided to do here. And you can see me playing a lot with floor tiles. I ended up making some pretty massive changes from what I started out with on the right hand side, because first I used this kind of older orangey wood tone, but then I switched to doing all tile. I don't know if that's realistic. I don't even know if a Tudor home would have like all tile, but I thought it looked really, really good. And it looked old, but it honestly looked nice. Like I think that that kitchen dining area turns out really nice with that tile. And it's an old tile. Like I don't like that tile in The Sims, but with everything else that was going on, it just worked out really, really well. So please don't mind all the furniture I'm placing right now. I'm kind of just figuring out the floor plan. I'm also trying to figure out what cabinets I want to use, but I'm pretty sure I ended up making a pretty drastic change, and I don't remember if I did it on like recording or not, but at some point you'll see that this looks very different. So the family that's going to be living here is also Indian. Um, and so they have two kids, one girl who's a teenager and one boy who's a teenager. And then obviously the mom and the dad, which live upstairs. So the kids will live downstairs in like the modern extension, and then the parents live in the upstairs of the older Tudor part of the house, which I think is kind of nice because they don't have to sleep near their children. On the unfortunate side, they are sleeping in the older part of the house and not the modern extension. But I kind of think maybe they would be okay with that. Like I think maybe their like style kind of aligns with an older house, maybe. I don't know. Or maybe they just want to sacrifice for their kids, and so they're like, okay, the kids should have the better side of the house than us. I don't know. So it could be either of those. So the house is going to be kind of similar to that one apartment we did. I wanted it to be super colorful. I tried to incorporate some things that kind of looked more Indian to me. Um like I said in the last video, I don't think there's a lot of Indian stuff in this game, so it's not super easy to like find things that are like actually Indian, but that kind of give the same vibe. I can find some like comparable items. So here I'm kind of figuring out if I want to do a modern kitchen, and then I'm kind of thinking I don't like the colors that are going on. I really like blue and orange together. That's why I was trying to go for this. And I also really, really like the tablecloth on that table, so I wanted to use it. And I felt like the chairs looked really nice with like the wicker type um I don't know what like the wicker side that it had, and I felt that that actually fit really well for like an Indian household. And then on the left hand side, you see that we have this really modern wood, and that kind of stemmed or built the idea to do all tile and then do modern wood, because I felt like having old wood sitting right next to the more modern wood looked really weird and like did not have like good flow. So at some point, I decided to change that because I'm like, okay, I don't really like having the two wood tones sitting right next to each other. It's pretty realistic to have houses that have different wood tones sitting next to each other. Maybe one's older, one's newer. But I just didn't like the way it looked. And I don't know, maybe it would have been more realistic to have that, but I didn't like it. I know that when my house, because my house used to be carpet, but then my mom had it changed a while back. So we used to have like hardwood in the front room and I think in one of the rooms downstairs, but then the rest was carpet. And she ended up changing it and making all of it wood. So we actually had two different wood floorings in our house. And it looks a little bit weird, but it's not like super alarming. But I felt like here, the way you see it just separate like that with the archway, since we can't like add any sort of division on the floor to kind of illustrate like a separation, Like usually I would use a fence for that, but because there's an arch, I can't. Or well, no, I can't because it would replace the the wall. So I just didn't like the way it looked. Here I'm trying to figure out what kind of color scheme I wanted to go for. I wanted to do a lot of like purples. I also wanted to do some really, really nice kind of dark blue colors, but I can't remember if I pulled that off anywhere at the end of this build because I really wanted to do it, but it just wasn't working out. I also struggled a lot with the door that you just saw me pick for the back like sliding glass door because that doesn't match any of the other windows or doors because it's black and the rest have this like orangey wood tone. So that was a little bit annoying. I'm pretty sure that I changed that to a different, I don't even remember what I changed it to, but I know I changed it to something that had like that same orangey wood tone. Right now we're working on the parents' bathroom, as you guys can see. It's kind of a tight fit in here, and it was a really awkward section of the house because it's so large. Oh, and here you can see me changing back to that tile that I was talking about. First, I just did the kitchen, and then I was like, you know what? Actually, I like all of it being tile because in the front room, you'd probably also want to have tile just because you walk in with muddy boots and things. So tile would be a lot easier to clean and maybe have like less wear from like any sort of water damage and stuff. So I decided to do tile for the entire flooring downstairs, which is a little bit unusual for me, but I think I kind of liked it. So, we did turn this little nook here into an office. This upstairs, like I said, it was like super weird because it's so large. I basically gave the entire floor to the parents. So I was like, okay, what are we gonna do with this space? And then I kind of fit out a really, really small office and a nice sized bathroom. And I think it actually looks pretty good. You can see me kind of playing around with how old I want to make the house essentially. And sorry, I just like jump around so much. It's hard to like keep track of everything I'm doing. I also couldn't decide whether I wanted to do kind of older windows here or kind of stick with these. I mean, they still look old, but they're not as like outdated looking as some of the other options there were. I also was really excited to use this what is this kit called again? It's like, I don't know. It's like a laundry room kit or a front room kit or something. It's basically has a bunch of furniture to make like a nice mud room. Oh, it's the mud room kit. I don't know if that's what it's called though. So I was really excited to use that. I'm not sure if it necessarily fits kind of the old aesthetic, but I don't think it looks like out of place either. So I think it was okay. I'm not sure. Here you can see me kind of going in and figuring out what I want to do for the teenagers. And I didn't record me doing the teenagers' rooms at all. Like I said, I struggled so much because there were like 3 or 4 different ways I could have gone with those bedrooms. And I just couldn't decide what I liked the most. So I spent a lot of time kind of going back and forth. And then there was like beds that I liked, but there was also wallpapers I liked, but then the wallpapers I liked didn't go with the beds that I liked. So yeah, it was just a lot of going back and forth trying to figure out what I wanted to do. Unfortunately, this house does not have a lot of exterior space just because the extension takes up so much. Like you can already see this backyard is so small. It's ridiculously small, and I kind of feel bad for it, but at the same hand, they're teenagers and I don't really think they're going to be using the outdoor space a lot. To be honest, I really would only expect it to be used for gardening and stuff. If they were like kids, I probably would have felt kind of bad because I would have liked to have, a gym or not like a jungle like a those jungle gyms, is that what they're called? And like the monkey bars and swing sets and stuff, but since they're older, I kind of feel like they probably don't need that stuff and they maybe don't even want like the outdoor space. Like, I don't know how many teenagers really go and use their backyard unless they're like, I don't know, playing soccer or football or something, but you'd probably go to like a park for that and not your backyard. So, I don't know. It's probably fine. But yeah, I tried to make the best out of the space that I could. Anyway, so the idea is that this is maybe a little bit more of a traditional family. Like, I think the mom is pretty traditional, but the dad's maybe a little bit more like modernized. Uh, Maybe a little bit more laid back. I think the mom wants to have like the perfect family with like a really successful family, and I can't remember what the dad's goals are. I think he also might have a family goal, but it might be something like having or like being a super parent or something. I don't know. I actually can't really remember what his goal was. And then the daughter, who's a teenager, wants to be a celebrity, and the son, I think the son wants to be super popular or something. That sounds correct. I think he wants to be like really popular or something. So these are like very social kids. And so I kind of tried to make their rooms have a lot of personality in them. I mean, I guess all the rooms I do have a lot of personality, but I think the boy liked doing dancing and stuff, so tried to incorporate a lot of music, and I also did gaming because I felt like he would be into gaming. I think his sister was into chess, but I put the chess boards in his room for some reason, or did I put them in the living room? I don't remember. Um, Upstairs we go with that same turquoise theme. The one thing, I don't know if this house is a little bit too much of a look-alike of the other Indian apartments that I did, because obviously it's like super colorful and I feel like I use a lot of the same colors, but I'm not sure. Like I think it looks different. I think the aesthetic is pretty different still. I don't know. You guys are gonna have to tell me what you think. And if I kind of did a little bit of copy pasting or not. I really tried to make sure that I was using different items and stuff, but obviously some things just work really well. I also did not realize that we had those really nice wooden wall decors of like the elephant and the lotus flower. I can't remember what pack it's from. Maybe is it from Island Living? I don't think so. I don't know, but it was so pretty and I felt like it fit in like an Indian home really well. Like it just it was like perfect. It just looked so good. Um I haven't decided yet whether this the mom in this family is going to be like a stay-at-home mom, since like I said, I think she's a little bit more traditional, or maybe she'll be like an educator or something. I could see being kind of the case. Oh, both the kids also really like music, which is very like opposite of their mother, but I think very reminiscent of their father. I think their father is pretty creative and their mother is kind of like you should be focusing on studies and school and blah blah blah, and she's not as big of a fan of their dreams to kind of be popular, like become a celebrity. Like that's just not what's her idea of success. So I think that'll lead to some really interesting storylines if I do end up playing this family. I always start building for families and then I never actually end up playing with them. And I also don't know if I want to do this for a let's play or not. It's just that let's plays take so much time and I don't want to deal with it. But I don't know, maybe we could. Maybe. I have a bunch of indie games I'm trying to play right now. I'm trying to make my own video game. My boyfriend is a software engineer and he's been making or like working on making his own video game. Um, and that kind of got me interested in doing it as well, but I am not a programmer, so it's a little bit more difficult. I have programming experience, but just not like I'm an engineer, right? So programming isn't like my specialty, but I know some of it because you need it for engineering. Um, but I'm just not as well versed in the basics or like the languages you would use for making a video game. So I wanted to play some indie games this summer because I wanted to get some inspiration and kind of see like what kind of things people like in the different types of games that there are, like platformer games, and there's things like Stardew Valley and all these sorts of little story type games that I wanted to look at. So this summer I'm going to be playing a lot of indie games. So I don't even know if I really have time to be trying to do a um like let's play type thing. So but yeah, otherwise I would totally do it. It's just although I also really hate editing it. So I guess I could also post the VODs, but I don't know if you guys would really be interested in watching a VOD because those are kind of long. But anyways, we're getting towards the end of this video. Like I said, I did not record all of the furnishing and I'm so sorry about that. I just was struggling way too much. I don't know, I think I might have lost footage because I swear I recorded at least a little bit of some of the stuff that was done downstairs, but I can't find it. So I'm not sure if I like lost that footage or if I'm like misremembering. But yeah, I know I there's not as much furnishing in this build as you guys probably would have wanted. But we're gonna go ahead and get into a tour right now. So hopefully that kind of makes up for it. So this is the exterior of the house. As you can see, there's kind of the brighter wood tones that we are talking about, and then we have the stucco modern exterior addition with a little bit of tying back into that Tudor style right here. There's really nice landscaping because I feel like the mom would definitely spend a lot of time working on like gardening and making the house super pretty. Starting on the right hand side, you see sort of that more older looking side of the house with the all tiled older kitchen, and then you walk into a much nicer, more modern looking living room, and then you've got the two kids bedrooms on the left hand side. The bottom one is for the boy teenager and the top one is for the girl teenager. We go upstairs. The only thing that we have upstairs is the parents bedroom with their office and their own bathroom. On the outside you can see this like really small backyard. I did end up changing that sliding glass door to something from Island Living so that it matched the darker wood tones. And then we've got these really nice bay windows, which I think are from cats and dogs. Let's go ahead and go into the tour. I'm scared. I always forget to paint the ceilings. I also just don't like painting the ceilings though, so maybe it's fine. This is the front entry room. So we've got our nice little mud room, a purse, some things for some shoes, some storage. And then we've got a little seating area and a place to put your keys and some mail. And then if we walk in this way, we enter the really, really nice looking kitchen and dining space. So we've got a fireplace, which I think if you know this was the older house, you would expect that they had a fireplace. This is probably where the older house's living room was. So they had the fireplace with their TV, and then they had their kitchen over there. Not really sure where they would have had their dining room, but that's a different conversation. Maybe they didn't have one. But yeah, so I put a little tea set on the table. We've got some plants, really nice kind of old light fixtures. Um, and then this is our kitchen, which has a lot of greenery and veggies. Because like I said, I think this mom would be a lot, or not a lot, but like very into gardening. And then of course you have to have a lot of spices in an Indian household. So we've got a lot of spices, some really nice plates and place to make some tea, a mortar and pestle for your spices, lots of cooking things. And I don't really know if you would expect to see a recipe book because I assume that she must have like her old family recipes and things like that. But maybe they're trying to do like more American cuisine or other things. I don't know. I just thought the book looked cute, so I put it in. And I also really like whatever the heck this thing. I've never used this thing up here before, but it looked really good. So I'm glad I used it and it matches everything perfectly. And I really like the turquoise with this like burnt orange, like brown color. So I think that looks really good. And then if we walk into our living room, I feel like there's a painting missing. I feel like there was one painting in that corner, but maybe I deleted it and don't remember. So this looks a little bit more modern. We've got this pretty modern fireplace, pretty modern coffee table, definitely more modern furniture. Really, really big bookshelves, which I think are super nice. And then we've got a little prayer station here I wanted to put her with like some sage, some incense sticks, and then maybe some sort of prayer book. I don't know, maybe that'd be like the Bhagavad Gita or some other kind of historical, like Hindu, Jain, something sitting there. Didn't put as much as I did in the other house with like the statues and everything, but it's okay. I think it looks pretty good. And then we have our walkway into the outside, which I guess we can go tour now. Feel like I might have forgotten a trash can. We have a grill, a little bit of gardening, a little seating area, and then some like flower arranging. Because like I said, I think the mom would be pretty into gardening. And then if we go into here, we've reached the teenage girl's room. And so she has these really, really nice bay windows that I imagine she likes to read on a lot. She wants to be a celebrity. I think she's really into music. I also think she's into fitness because again, she wants to be a celebrity, maybe an actress specifically, not sure. I also really like this wallpaper in this color. I think this is one of my favorite wallpapers in the game, and I don't really utilize a lot of its different swatches, so I've been trying to utilize more of the swatches that I don't use as much of. I also really liked this painting. I felt like that definitely gives something that a teenager would have, but it looks really, really pretty. And I kind of think maybe her brother might have made it for her. I can't remember if I made her into art or him. But there's an easel upstairs in their dad's room, and one of them or both of them carry their same interest in like painting. She's got a cute little makeup station because if she wants to be like a social media influencer, she definitely have to have a nice makeup station. Have not given her like a streamer setup yet, but I thought about giving it to her, but then I was like, okay, maybe she doesn't like have that yet, you know? But yeah, so that's all of her stuff right there. Nice little closet. And then if we go out this way, sorry, my voice is kind of raspy. It always gets raspy towards nighttime. This is their shared bathroom and also just like the standard living like bathroom that any guest would use. So it looks a lot more modern. I really like the dark tones of this, and I really liked how this is like on a platform a little bit lower. So I think this looks really nice. They've got two sponge things because one's for the sister, one for the brother. Um, yeah, I think this looks really good. I also think this floor looks really good with this like navy color. I don't know. I'm a big fan of how this room looks. But yeah, so that's the bathroom. And then over here we've got the brother's room, which is really, really nice looking. I tried to incorporate this like darker like navy blue that I wanted to use. Not sure if I like the wallpaper, but I think the wallpaper pulls a lot of the colors that I was trying to use because it matches well with this bed, and the bed has some purpley tones, and I also really like the purpley tones. That kind of, I don't know. I just felt like at first I was trying to do like a full navy room and it just looked too dark. So then I switched to this and I think it looks really nice. The curtains don't perfectly match and I probably should have changed them, but oh well. So he's got his little dresser area. He's got a little music set up. Again, he has some chess stuff, but I think it's actually his sister that's more into chess than he is. Um, Big into sports, gaming. I think he's got a lot of trophies, but I'm not sure what for. And then he's got like a little gym set up over here. Can't remember if those are usable or not. I think those are the usable ones. And yeah, just some like random clutter and stuff. So that's his room. And then what else do we have to look at? Oh, the parents' room. So if we go back through the house, we can go upstairs into the parents' room. I forgot to paint the flooring here. That's kind of awkward. I'll fix that. And then this is the parents' room, which is, you know, yellow and turquoise with a little bit of red accents kind of scattered throughout the house, which I think looks really nice. Think that the mom would be really into like knitting and crocheting and stuff. And yeah, I just think this room looks really nice. I know that we did turquoise, a lot of turquoise in the other house as well, but I don't think we did like turquoise with yellow. So that was kind of my way of trying a different color scheme without repeating what we did in the apartments. And I also gave them this like older mirror because I felt like that was pretty fitting. To kind of have like an older golden mirror. Or maybe it's brass. I think it should be gold, but whatever. This is the really small bathroom. It's kind of hard to like work through. This has a bunch of curtains through it. So the shower is actually on the opposite side of this, but I used a spandrel and curtains to close off the shower. So yeah, that's the shower. This is their really small bathroom setup with one window. And yeah, I mean, it's a nice bathroom. It's just small. And then this is the father's office, which I tried again to pull out some more of that turquoise that I wanted to use, but we did turquoise and yellow, which I think fits this like rug really, really well. I kind of just wish there was a little bit more of those purpley accents because the rug does have a lot of purple accents. But we've got his little setup here, and I think I made him a programmer, so that's why he has a more fancy kind of computer setup than what you would kind of expect an older person to have, maybe. And he's got his nice little book setup. And then he also has his little art section because, like I said, I think he's into arts and his kids are into arts, but that's not really his mom's thing. Um, and yeah, that's the whole entire house essentially. And I mean, the exterior looks like really good. I tried to bring back that like overhang on the back since I took it from because originally it was like overhanging from this side, but I did it in the back instead just so it fits our like floor plan idea a little bit better while still maintaining that sort of to door aspect of the house. My game is like really glitching out all of a sudden. Well, I'm gonna save right now. I'm gonna leave it. But I hope you guys liked this video. As always, if you did, please give it a big thumbs up. And if you like me, hit that subscribe button. And if you really like me, you want me notified every single time I post a video, go ahead and hit that bell button. I hope you guys are having a great day, and I will see you guys next time.